Quite often, students ask me how often they should write essays or how many essays should they write every day. Now, whether you're doing general training or whether you're doing academic, this lesson applies to you, and we'll just look at how often you should be practicing the IELTS writing test. My name is Lara Ryan. I've been an IELTS examiner and an IELTS teacher at the British Council. I have over a decade of experience helping IELTS students achieve success, and I am the founder of Complete Test Success. Before we jump into the lesson, remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel. First, I want to look at when it's a good idea to write answers and write letters when you're preparing for the IELTS test, and then later on we'll look at when you should not do that. So the first reason why it's a benefit to write answers is to help you improve your timing. Now, initially when you're preparing for the IELTS test, you shouldn't worry about how much time it takes you to write an essay or to write a letter. You should really focus on the quality of your writing. So make sure that you understand what mistakes you're making and how to improve the quality. And then when you're ready and capable of writing an essay that gets your required score, then you can start to practice the timing. And writing essays and letters is very, very important because, of course, you need to be able to write a full task 2 answer in 40 minutes and a full task 1 answer in 20 minutes. So if you've never practiced doing that before your IELTS test, that will make it very, very difficult to do it on time in the real IELTS test. Now, what a lot of students will do is they will have practiced writing task 2 in 40 minutes many times before the test, and task 1 in 20 minutes many times before the test, but they'll never have practiced writing a task 1 and a task 2 in 60 minutes. So practicing writing essays under exam conditions like this before the IELTS test will make it much easier for you to finish your essays and your letters on time inside the real IELTS test. The next benefit of writing essays is that it will help you to adapt the length of your answer. So in task 1, you should aim for about 180 words, and in task 2, you should aim for about 280 words. Now, you don't want to have to count how many words you've written when you're in the IELTS test. Of course, if you're doing computer-based, it will show you how many words you've written, so you have that benefit. However, it's good for you to just get familiar with how long a paragraph looks when you've finished writing it. So if you're doing paper-based test, just writing enough essays will help you to see if your paragraphs are long enough, or if they're too short, or if they're too long. Of course, when you're planning your essay, you will have your main idea, your explanation, and your example for each body paragraph. But there will be occasions when you finish writing the explanation that your paragraph is already long enough, so writing an example would be the wrong thing to do. So by practicing writing essays, you will learn how to adapt your plan to suit the essay, and then when you're in the real test, you won't end up with a very, very long paragraph or a paragraph that's too short. So ultimately, by practicing writing essays, you improve your ability to write essays that are the appropriate length. Another massive benefit of writing essays is that you will learn the format and the question types. You're probably already aware that there are different question types, and the format of the test can be different depending on whether you're doing general training or academic, task 1 or task 2. So the more essays you write, the more familiar you will become with all of these things. Then we have question analysis, which is another key skill that you need for the exam. But if you're not writing essays, of course, you don't get to practice this either. Then another key skill is your ability to generate ideas. So this skill of generating ideas is only relevant to general training task 1 and then task 2 for everybody. But it is a very, very important skill, and for a lot of people, it's a skill that requires a lot of time to improve. And of course, you have to have this before your IELTS test. However, if generating ideas and question analysis are your biggest issues, what I would recommend is that instead of writing full practice essays, what you can do is just write the plan for those essays. And that will give you the practice you need, and of course, you can do more of those in the same length of time. You will also be able to improve your ability to use the various structures you need for the IELTS test. Now, different IELTS teachers will show you different structures, so it can be confusing if you're trying to follow more than one IELTS teacher at the same time. The advice will be conflicting and that can cause confusion. So I would recommend that you just follow one teacher in relation to the structures that you should use. However, you do need to get familiar with these structures. So the more often you practice writing essays, the more familiar you'll get with which structure to use for which question type. And of course, that's something that you will need to know very, very clearly before your IELTS test. Then you will learn how to overcome obstacles. It's quite normal to have problems arise as you're writing your essay. So perhaps you don't know how to develop your ideas, or you don't have that one piece of vocabulary that you need to express yourself clearly. And that will happen in the IELTS test as well. So if you've practiced writing lots of essays, you will have learned how to overcome these obstacles without getting stressed and without losing a lot of time. The final benefit you will gain is learning how to proofread. So everybody will make mistakes when they're writing, but the skill of being able to reread your writing, find your most common mistakes and fix them is another essential skill for the IELTS test. And if you've never done it before, well then you can't expect to do it well when you're in the real IELTS test. Okay, and let me remind you that you can sign up for my free live feedback lessons with the link in the video description. If you haven't already joined, all you need to do is register with the link and then you will see the full schedule and how to join those lessons. So far, we've looked at all the reasons you should write practice essays and all of the benefits that you will gain by doing this. But now I want to look at when you should not write practice essays. Okay, so let's look at what exactly you're not going to improve by writing practice essays. Firstly, you're not going to improve your knowledge and ability of using cohesive devices. You're not going to improve your ability to reference with accuracy. You're not going to improve your vocabulary. You're not going to improve your spelling. And you're not going to improve your grammar. So in short, if you have some issue related to your language ability, writing essays is not going to help you improve that. If you have a vocab problem, you need to go and study vocab. It doesn't matter how many essays you write every day. You're not improving your vocabulary unless you're studying vocabulary. The same goes for cohesive devices, referencing, and grammar. Simply put, if you have a language problem, you need to fix that problem, not write essays. So the name of this lesson is, should I write essays every day? And the answer depends on your situation. I've shown you which things you can improve by writing essays and which things you cannot improve by writing essays. So you can answer that question for me in the comments below. Tell me if you should be writing essays every day or if you should not.